Welcome. My name is Linda Leland from andthensheshines.com. And today we're going to talk about overcoming the cycle of sugar and carb addiction because it absolutely is an addiction. But the good news is you can overcome this. Okay, you can do it quickly or you can do it slowly. The choice is up to you, and we're going to talk about that here. And I'm coming to you from my favorite office of all my offices, which is the kitchen. This is where the healing happens. This is where I love to love people with food and educate people about food. And this is really where all the work is. So I want to welcome you. A little bit about me. I've been studying in the field of nutrition my entire life. Okay, I'm a nutritional educator and expert. I teach in hospitals, large corporations. I work with private clients, group clients. I've recovered from food issues of my own. I've come to know that healing from any food dysfunction is not just a physical remedy, right? We all know what to do. We all know what to eat and how to eat. So there's oftentimes emotional and spiritual aspects involved. And it wasn't really until I brought all those together that I was able to help clients the way that I have been. So I'm going to ask you to be here fully. We're going to go over a lot of stuff today. I'm going to help you understand why sugar has such a pull, why it's so addictive, because when you understand it, you can absolutely overcome it. So be here fully, shut down your other screens. We get some great stuff to go over. So let's just start with a few facts about these bodies. We all have one of these, right? So whenever we eat anything, which today we're specifically talking about sugar and carbs, same thing for the most part, it gets digested. We digest it, and then it becomes part of our bloodstream. It becomes our cells and our tissues and what we're made up of. It also becomes our thoughts. We absolutely think differently depending upon what we eat, and we certainly think differently after we eat sugar. You know, I don't know about you, but after consuming a lot of sugar, the effects that I get, I feel numb. I feel a numbness, like my light is dimmed a little. Even the next day, I can sort of get a sugar hangover. And another one is I want more. I want more. If I start the day with a bagel or something sweet, I am on a roller coaster of of cravings for the entire day because that's what it does. Okay, so this is nothing to do with willpower. Willpower will never get you there. So if you've tried to exert willpower to overcome your sugar or carb addiction, stop that. It will never work. This is about understanding sugar's seductive pull. You are not weak. You are not somehow broken. Okay, this is an epidemic in our country. And addiction to sugar or anything is definitely stronger in some people than others. Although we all share these body parts, there's always an emotional and a spiritual aspect too, that if it's not addressed, it's really, really hard to overcome your addiction to sugar or anything. So let's talk about the physical aspects of sugar addiction. If you know this, if you've ever overindulged in sugar, you understand how it keeps pulling you back, how you keep wanting to go back for more and more after that first bite. And food manufacturers depend on this. I was trying to find peanut butter in the grocery store the other day with no sugar, and it was virtually impossible, or tomato sauce. It's in everything. It's in condiments, it's in salad dressings, sauces. Our food manufacturers bank on us coming back. I would love to think that most of the big food manufacturers are sitting around the boardroom asking, how can we best nourish our people? But oftentimes that is not the case. They're concerned with making the products last as long as they possibly can on the shelves and with keeping us coming back for more. And sugar does that. There was a recent study done with rats, and they gave them an option in their cages to either access sugar water or cocaine water. And the rats chose the sugar water every single time. Even when they increased the level of cocaine and the high that the rats would get from the cocaine water, they still chose the sugar water every single time. because we have sweet receptors in the brain. And when they're overstimulated, it literally overrides our mechanism for self-control. Okay? Your body's actually screaming for more, isn't it? After that first bite. So let's talk about the criteria for addiction. Why is sugar an addictive substance? It meets all the criteria of addiction. If you look that up, the criteria of addiction is this: something that it's addictive, it stimulates neurotransmitters in the brain that release dopamine, that release serotonin, and just like drugs or alcohol, sugar does the same thing. And we eat sugar compulsively, okay, regardless of any negative effects or our deep desire to stop. And with continued use of sugar, we develop a tolerance, right? We need more and more and more to get that feeling, that high. And when consumption ceases of sugar, withdrawal symptoms occur. Those are all the criteria of addiction, and sugar meets every one of them. And things have changed for us. Things have changed. As I said, sugar's in everything. In the 1800s, in 1850, the average person ate 5 pounds of sugar a year. Do you have any idea how many pounds of sugar we eat today? Just a guess. 140 pounds a year each person on average eats of sugar. Okay? So that seems impossible, but I'm going to show you that is really, really not that hard to do. And sugar and carbs, some simple carbs, have the same effect, okay? If you're addicted to carbs, if you're addicted to sugar, it's the same thing. Me personally, I used to love sweets as a kid. Now I don't have much of a sweet tooth, but what I crave are carby things like chips and pasta and crackers and breads. Okay, but those have the same effect as soon as they hit my stomach as sugar. The taste is just a little bit different. Okay, so here's how it's so easy to eat 140 pounds of sugar a year. Whenever you're looking at labels, when you go out shopping, I want you to turn around whatever you might be looking at, okay? For every gram of sugar, okay, so every time you see 3.3 grams of sugar, that equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. For every 4 grams of carbs, that equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. So I just want to show you some examples. So we all know that Coca-Cola is full of sugar. There's 65 grams of sugar in a Coke. And I've emptied out the Coke and put in the corresponding teaspoons of how much sugar you're getting from just drinking 1 Coca-Cola. Okay, say you want to take something more healthy. You opt for a green tea. Okay. This one has, let me just throw my glasses on here so I can tell you exactly. This tea, healthy, organic, has 46 grams of sugar. Okay, so I have put in, that is how much sugar, you can't really see with the label, you're consuming. That's how many teaspoons you're consuming when you drink this organic iced tea. So guess what this amount of sugar comes from? This amount of sugar. If you imagine sitting down and eating that, just your average run-of-the-mill small little protein bar has this amount of sugar in it. Now, I was telling you that I'm a carb person. I prefer carbs. Here are some of my favorite organic pretzels, okay? Each serving here has 22 carbs. This says it's sugar-free. This says it's fat-free. We think it's healthy. This has 22 carbs in 12 pretzels, and there's 8 servings. So inside this bag of pretzels is this much sugar. If you look at the grams, it says only 1 gram. But if you look at the carbohydrates, because this is a processed carb, this is the sugar that you would consume if you ate that bag of pretzels. Okay? So just looking at that, you can see how easy it is to consume how much sugar we're consuming and why it's becoming so addicting. Sugar is affecting our health in so many ways. I'm going to read you something here from the Institute of Nutrition, that what it says that sugar is doing to us now, the effects that it's having on us. It suppresses the immune system. And I won't be a Debbie Downer after this, I promise. Okay, sugar suppresses the immune system. It interferes with the absorption of vitamins and minerals. It weakens the eyesight. It causes hypoglycemia. It causes a rapid rise in adrenaline levels. It contributes greatly to obesity. It causes arthritis, heart disease, and emphysema. It contributes to osteoporosis, increases cholesterol. You know, they're not saying that cholesterol is from eating saturated fat anymore. Any good scientific study is now showing us that our cholesterol is increased because of our overconsumption of sugar. It leads to prostate and ovarian cancer, contributes to diabetes, we knew that, asthma, kidney damage, gives us acid in the stomach, is one of the hugest problems we have is digestive issues, causes yeast infections, gallstones, hemorrhoids, varicose veins, toxemia in pregnancy, appendicitis, ulcers, and tooth decay. Cardiovascular disease changes the structure of collagen and makes our skin age more quickly, produces a significant rise in triglycerides, increases body's fluid retention, causes inflammation, the leading contributor of disease in our bodies. All disease starts with inflammation, and sugar always causes inflammation. Causes headaches, including migraines, causes depression, Alzheimer's, and it feeds cancer. If you were to look up right now, get out your Google machine and look up a tumor's favorite food, its favorite food that it needs to grow big and strong, it is sugar. Okay? So all of this sugar that we have been consuming, mostly unknowingly, is really wreaking havoc on these bodies. But today I want to talk more about the cravings, okay? So when we're craving sugar, it's our body asking for glucose, because glucose is fuel, okay? But what's important for you to know is the way that we absorb the glucose, whether we absorb it quickly or whether we absorb it slowly, is the key here. One of the major things I want you to understand, because these bodies are brilliant. These are brilliant biocomputers that are always telling us what they need. Okay, they keep us at 98.6, regardless if we're out on a hot day or a freezing cold day. They keep our body temperature regulated where it needs to be. You know, they tell us, you know, when to empty our bladders or keep us awake while we're driving a car. They do millions of brilliant things. Okay, and our bodies always want to maintain a level of homeostasis, which is just a scientific word for your body's brilliant ability to stay healthy and alive. Okay, so let's assume that the straight line, my arm, is a balanced state of homeostasis. Okay, so we're going to first talk about simple carbohydrates. These are things that are processed. Okay, they're almost like they're pre-digested for us. All the fiber has been taken out. Things like table sugar, white flour, any processed food, anything man has taken into a factory, taken it all apart, heated it up, extracted things from it, changed it to something different, put it in a package, and given it to us. Processed carbohydrates and processed sugars, okay? All the fiber has been taken out. There's short chains of carbon. So these, as soon as you eat these, okay, momentarily, your body doesn't have to do a lot to break them down because the fiber has been taken out. Your body doesn't have to do a lot of digesting. Like I said, it's almost as if they did the digesting for us by taking all the fiber out. So when you eat them, momentarily they turn to sugar. So you get this spike, right? You get this spike in your glucose levels, in your blood sugar. And then what happens? Okay, it drops down to here. Okay, after the spike, there's a crash. There's a fall. Your body's now in a state of emergency. Because your body is so brilliant and wants to get back up to this level, this brilliant level of balance and homeostasis, what does your body do? Craving! It gives you a craving so that you'll eat something so that you'll get that sugar back up to where it needs to be. And normally, what do we reach for, right? We don't really reach for a sweet potato. We don't really reach for an orange or an apple. Okay, we reach for something else that's quick. So we stay on this roller coaster ride all day long. And this has really contributed to the onset of type 2 diabetes and so many other things. And you know, then let's talk about complex carbs. These are the ones made in nature. These are the ones that God put down here, that the universe put down here, that they used to eat in the 1800s. Whenever you wanted sugar back then, you know, you had to have fruit or a grain or some root vegetables with all the fiber intact, with all the nutrients intact. That's another reason we have a lot of cravings, because when we're eating all these processed, pre-digested things, they virtually have no nutrients. Oftentimes we think we're craving sugar, but we're really craving nutrition. Okay, so when you eat complex carbs, these things that are developed, are created in nature with all the fiber intact, okay, your blood sugar goes up, your glucose levels go up, and they stay solid. They stay balanced for a longer period of time, and they don't crash down and give you that incredible craving. Okay? If you were to get up in the morning and eat a bagel, as I said, or something sweet, your sugars would elevate and it would crash down. If you would instead have, let's say, a sweet potato with almond butter or some bacon and eggs or some protein, that would not happen. It's really important that you know how to start the day. Okay? So it's a difference. These crashes and these cravings is a huge difference about what type of sugar we're eating to solve that craving. There's been study after study about how sugar also affects our mood, how releasing all that serotonin and all that dopamine, our bodies stop doing it on their own. They stop producing it as often, and it causes slight to deep depression in all of us. Sugar causes depression and anxiety at some level in all of us. It's affecting our mood. There's an epidemic of emotional issues now, more than before, and it has greatly contributed to our food source. I always like to talk to people about primary foods. There's an emotional aspect to this. Our primary foods, these are the things that doctors don't talk to us about. There's other things that feed our soul that oftentimes we substitute with sugar. Things like a career that we love, or healthy relationships. Most importantly, a healthy relationship with ourselves, knowing our worth. That's a spiritual aspect. When we don't know our worth, we don't treat ourselves well. We don't treat ourselves well. We're looking to feel better in some other way, and oftentimes we reach to sugar. It's moving our bodies in ways that we love. It's being creative. If you're a creative person, it's doing the things in life that bring you joy. Oftentimes when we're happy, when we're doing things that bring us joy, that make us feel in love and alive, we don't care if we eat, right? You could go all day without sugar. You could skip right through lunch. And it also works the opposite. If you're using sugar to fill all those holes, you start to stop caring about those things. So it's really a component that I always like to bring up here, because it's really important. Okay, so what do you do? Well, how do you overcome addiction to sugar? I told you I was going to tell you about how to do it quickly and about how to do it slowly. There's certain things that you can incorporate into your life to break away from sugar addiction. Okay, and I'm going to talk to you about that. And I also want to talk to you about, I facilitate a 10-day reset detox cleanse. It is based on whole foods. It is based on the synergy and the detoxification abilities of your body. Okay, because your body knows what to do. All of your organs are filters. They're designed to filter this stuff out and get rid of cravings. Okay, but when they're too gunked up, okay, they can't do their jobs properly. So I facilitate a 10-day cleanse. Like I said, there's no starvation, there's no deprivation. I give you grocery shopping lists, recipes, everything you need to get rid of the cravings in a 10-day period or less, because it's oftentimes easier to incorporate these new practices that I'm going to give you that are going to help you overcome sugar. So if you're interested in my 10-day cleanse, it's something that you do from home. I've been doing this with thousands of clients. I have never met one who did not get huge benefit to it in wherever they needed it most, specifically obliterating sugar cravings. Okay, I help you work through withdrawal symptoms. I help you understand what to expect, and I help you stay motivated to know that you're doing something so loving and so incredible for these bodies, these loyal vehicles that just want to stay healthy. And they love us, and they want us to love them back. So if you want to overcome this quickly, I recommend doing this cleanse. If you want to overcome that slowly, or even after the cleanse, I want to give you some tips and tools here. Okay, But I find it much easier to do when the cravings aren't screaming in your ear. So I always encourage people, and don't poo-poo this, to create a nourishment menu. Start to sit down and think about other things that feed your soul. If you're eating sugar when you're not hungry, what else feeds your soul? Okay, what else can you do that makes you feel good? Are you an artist? Do you need to reach out to somebody? What's missing? Okay, so to create a nourishment menu, other things that you can turn to manage your emotions besides sugar. Okay, and also start to think about bringing in some whole foods that satisfy your sweet tooth, that contain all that fiber, all the nutrition is intact. One of my favorites, like I said, is sweet potatoes with peanut butter on it. There's so many delicious recipes in this cleanse. We do a raw fudge. We do a whole bunch of great things that with fat that really slows down. When you eat fat with sugar, it absolutely slows down the spike and the crash. So, eating some fat with sugar is another huge helpful tool, whether it's a piece of avocado, a piece of cheese, some coconut oil, whatever you like. Okay, eating fruit, eating some whole grains, with all the fiber intact is a really important way to start to curb the sugar cravings. And hydrate. Everything this body does requires water. We don't have a separate reservoir somewhere with water in it, and everything that happens in your body requires water in order to function. So if you're not hydrated enough, there are certain systems of the body that are going without, okay, that aren't operating optimally, and that will give you a sensation of cravings. So it's important that you drink enough water. How much water? You need to drink half your body weight in ounces every single day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need to drink 100 ounces of water a day. 300 pounds, you need to drink 150 ounces, and so on and so forth, without question. For the first few days, you'll be peeing everywhere. You'll be like, damn that Linda, why did I ever listen to her? But after a few days, your cells are like excited. They plump up to where they want to be. And you'll stop peeing all the time. And you'll now be thirsty when you don't have that correct amount of water to hydrate you and to run all the systems of the body well, the way they need to be. I suggest a probiotic. Overconsumption of sugar really adds to a bad bacteria in the gut. That's a whole other teaching, okay? But the gut is called the second brain. It affects our mood. It absolutely, when this bad bacteria, gives us stronger sugar cravings. So a probiotic helps put in some good bacteria. If you get a probiotic, you want at least 8 strains of bacteria. You don't just want one that says acidophilus or one that says bifidus. And you want at least 25 billion cells. But probiotics can be expensive. So I recommend eating fermented foods. Fermented foods have trillions of good bacteria. They're far more affordable, and it's just a natural way to get great probiotics and heal from the addictive powers of sugar. And move your body. Move your body in a way that you love. If you're a member, if you have a gym membership and you hate it, you're not into going and picking things up and putting them down, cancel your membership. Find other ways to move your body that you actually enjoy. It's really helpful when it comes to overcoming any addiction. So those practices alone will be really helpful. And like I said, I offer a 10-day cleanse that I've been facilitating with people that really works. That'll help you just jumpstart this, get through the cravings, and then it's so much easier to take on and live these practices and change your relationship with sugar long term. Because sugar is something we want to enjoy, right? We want to be able to go to a birthday party and eat birthday cake and ice cream. And we absolutely should. Food is love. Food is life. It's joy. It was not just given to us for nutrition. It's one of God's given pleasures. So you want to be able to be in relationship with sugar in a balanced way. Okay? And you can be. Take it from me. So I thank you so much for being here. I hope this helps. I hope I see you in the 10-day cleanse. Either way, good luck to you. You absolutely can overcome this. I love you, and I'll see you again.